Welcome to Black Coffee Conversation. It's all things relationship. I'm Tanya.
And I'm Tiffany.
Yes, and we have a special guest today that I am so super excited about.
Yes.
If you've been watching and checking out Netflix, the latest docuseries, Later Daters.
Yes.
I love the series. And we have our special guest, Nate, who was one of the participants. So we're going to find out all about his experiences on Later Daters.
And wasn't it produced by Michelle Obama?
She was the executive producer, Michelle Obama. Yes, my forever first lady. Yeah. So
Nate, tell
Yes.
us about yourself. We're here on location in Atlanta.
Okay.
And are you an Atlanta native?
No, I'm not. I was originally born in Columbus, Georgia.
Oh, okay.
But I moved all around the world, being a military brat, being a dysfunctional family kind of, sort of, you know. So we've been all over the place, you know. I served in the military, went to Florida A&M University. I have 2 children, ages 34 and 23.
Okay.
And
So you're an empty nester.
Good
for you.
Yeah. So
Yes.
yes, I'm done with that. Yeah.
All right.
So that's about it.
Okay. Now, I just want to know, my first question is really, what made you interested in even taking the chance and even stepping into being a part of this docuseries?
Well, when they reached out to me, what made me interested was the fact that they basically vetted everybody. Okay. And so, in the dating world, you're vetting people yourself. Okay. And so they kind of did the background check, make sure that people weren't crazy, make sure, that they were basically, had a job, that they, they hadn't been to jail, all of those type of things.
Yeah.
So it made it interesting because therefore you're getting through all of the crazy minutia and you're saying, at least these people are quality people that I'm being put in front of.
Right. Because I'm sure you have to be extremely careful when you're trying to put a series out like that, and especially being executive produced by Michelle Obama.
Exactly.
So that's great.
So going into the experience, did you have expectations that you were going to meet the one, or that you were just going to have some fun, or what was sort of your mindset going into the process?
So going into the process, I was skeptical initially. Again, because it's a dating show and it's like reality. What'd you say?
Tell us how old you are.
I'll be 58 in 2 weeks.
Wow.
Wow.
No,
Wow.
I appreciate that. I
Right
appreciate that.
Not a day over 50. I mean, you
Wow.
I appreciate that. But yeah, so I was a little skeptical because I was figuring that this was going to be just like some of those other reality shows.
Yeah.
But when I found out that it was with executive produced by Michelle Obama, I said, okay, well, let me look at this because I'm quite sure she's not going to put out any mess.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I truly,
Shout out to Michelle.
most definitely, thank you, Michelle. Hey, Michelle, I'd like to meet you someday.
Please.
Really would.
Please.
All of us would love to meet you someday. But once I realized it was being executive produced by Michelle Obama, I said, okay, I'm gonna jump into this and perhaps I will meet the one.
Yeah.
I didn't have any expectations. But it was one of those things where I said, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. So might as well do it. And even though I was going to expose myself to the world, I said, well, why not? What do I have to lose in, my mid 50s right about now? You know what I'm saying? Might as well just go for the gusto. So I went for it.
So you live in Atlanta where there are thousands upon thousands of beautiful women.
Yes.
What has your dating experience been like before the show?
Yes.
Well, so part of the problem was I had moved to Atlanta right during the middle of the pandemic. Okay. So right during the middle of the pandemic, I kind of relocated in June of 2020. So we were at home the whole time for the most part for 2 years. During that particular time, I was seeing somebody, off and on. It didn't quite work out. And so, this show kind of came in right after the pandemic was kind of lifted.
Yeah.
And so therefore I didn't have a lot of opportunity to meet a lot of people. So it was just right timing for the show.
Right.
Yeah.
And how was it? I think one of the things that I really liked about the show also is they brought in, I think, a therapist. She was a behavioral scientist, right?
Yeah.
And her name was Logan.
Yeah.
And I think part of this docuseries is that, first of all, they would put you on a series of blind dates.
Yeah.
But then also part of that was Logan kind of working through, I guess, how you deal with relationships, right? And how you go about that. How was that experience? Because to me, it takes a lot of, you really have to be vulnerable to be able to open up and kind of reflect, right?
Yeah. So for the most part, I'm a closed off person.
Mm-hmm.
And when they told me they were going to have a dating coach, I was like, okay, let's see how this is going to go. Right. So, and she kept digging. So what y'all saw on film was probably maybe 15% of what was taped.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we spent countless hours talking, communicating, digging into some different things.
Right.
She and I, we had a real spirited debate at one point.
Wow.
Which I wish was aired because I think that I kind of got her a little bit on that, but it didn't air. So, but it was a good experience because, it gave me a different perspective from her lens.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
But I still don't think that it was, I didn't get I won't say I didn't get a lot out of it because I already know myself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I already know myself. So I know who I am.
Yeah.
It was just allowing her to get to know me and allow the audience to get to know me. So as far as any changing of behaviors, anything, not really.
You seem to be a person that really reflects.
Yeah.
And you really reflect.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
So when you got out there and you had a few dates, did you learn anything about yourself? Like, what was the experience like of just dealing with meeting strangers and sort of having to open up very quickly because the cameras are rolling?
Yeah. So I think what I learned, that's a good question. Well, first of all, I'll say this. For this dating process,
You always have flowers, brother. I appreciate it.
So something I was getting ready to say that. I was getting ready to say that because something, and I appreciate that because the social media. I mean, they beat me up in social media. Yeah, they did, and only 2 people mentioned the fact that they appreciated me bringing flowers. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, it just tripped me out how everybody went to what they felt was negative and not looked at the positive side of what a brother may be doing.
What?
You know what I'm saying? So it was just amazing. So I was getting ready to jump into that. So I definitely appreciate that. But I think, and again, the question came, do you always bring flowers? And and the truth is absolutely not. And the reason I did on the show is, again, like I said before, these women are already vetted.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They were already vetted by Netflix and by, going through the background check. So
Wow.
I'm like, you are quality. I just because I meet somebody online, I don't know you. Wow. So spending $70 on top of lunch and dinner or whatever for some flowers, that's not going to happen. That's expensive. So what I learned, I guess, through that process was that, Logan asked everybody on the show to kind of be vulnerable and to open up and talk about some things that you never would have talked about before. Yeah. I think, if anything, the show allowed me to be comfortable with my vulnerability because I had to talk about it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I never would have talked about it. I never talk about that stuff. It would be, you would have to know me for months at a time and we'd be in something pretty serious, or at least somewhat committed for me to even expose it. Okay.
So you took a leap of faith.
Took a leap of faith. I was going with the program. I am a soldier, and so she told me to
go. Yeah.
Follow orders.
Yeah.
So I followed orders.
I see you're a paratrooper too.
Yes, I am. I jumped out of airplanes for a living for a while. Okay. Yeah. So it was fun. It was fun during the time, that was one of the places where I got hurt.
That
Sometimes.
On the show,
Yeah, it came up on the show. You know, I had a bad jump on, you know, in the middle of the night. You know, it was about 1,000 of us jumping out of airplanes, and you know, winds were pretty high, and there was a number of people got hurt on that jump. You know, so one life was lost, which I'm glad, you know, it wasn't me. But you know, I sustained some injuries that, you know, I will deal with, you know, for a lifetime.
And that's one of the things that you really opened up about when you were going out on the dates.
Yeah.
How was that for you? Because I think on all of the dates, you pretty much, I think, brought that up.
Yeah, on each one of the dates. So that was my little thing that she wanted me to talk about. Okay. And again, being a soldier, being, you know, one of those individuals that kind of, you know, if my authority asked me to do something, I'm going to do it, you know, because it's the process.
Right.
I was very uncomfortable doing it because I don't want anybody to ever feel like I'm looking for any pity.
Yeah.
You know, that's not me. You know, I deal with whatever I'm dealing with on my own. And so it was difficult to sit in front of somebody that I never knew. But I also felt it was okay because I knew they were doing the same thing, pretty much, or at least one or two of them were doing the same thing. They were open up. So it gave me a little comfort in that. But then with having the cameras around, I was like, oh man, the whole world gonna see all of this. Right. And matter of fact, I have, you know, I'm a member of a fraternity, right? Omega Psi Phi fraternity. Okay. And so a couple of my line brothers, they called me up. They like, oh, we didn't know all of that about you. And I was like, yeah, because I don't talk about that. Yeah. You know, the only people that knew about that, you know, my children and my close knit circle of people. But now the world knows. Right. Yeah.
So you're on these dates. Yeah. Were there any vibes? Were there any sparks that flew for you? Or
because I felt like I saw some. Right.
Some people it seemed like you vibed with more than others, but I know, you know, at the age that you are, you probably are going in more logical and methodical, looking for certain things because you know how your life is set up. Right. You know it's going to fit into that space. But what was that like? Did you have any connections that you made that felt good?
Well, I would say I've dated 4 different women, and each one of them had a very unique connection. Yep. I would say at least 3 of them, I could have seen some potential romance.
Nice. 3 out of 4.
3 out of 4.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So, but obviously, like you said, I'm glad you mentioned that too. You know, at this age, it's not about how you just feel about somebody. Mm-hmm. It's about how does that person and how are you going to fit in their life? How are they going to fit in your life? Yeah. How I can, I guess you say, be an asset to them, right, and how they can be an asset to me and try not to be a liability. Mm-hmm. And so you look at those things and especially, you know, we only dated for 2 hours. And so we went through, you know, it's not a lot of time to get to know somebody. Right. Yeah. But when they start throwing things out there, you start saying, I'm not so sure about that. Right. And because I don't have time to dig into it, you know, and it's a show, I have to make a informed decision based on what I already have. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so therefore y'all saw, I moved on, you know, kept moving on because of those little bitty key points in which it was a show. And one thing that I told the producers each and every time, I said, you know something, I need a second and third date with each one of these women in order to get to know, you know what I'm saying? Right. And they were, no, that's not how the format is. You know, you have to go on this one date. Now, I did do something that probably nobody else on the show did. Mm-hmm. And I did this intentionally. And that was when I met each woman, I only left it there in terms of the communication at the date. Okay. I didn't communicate with them anymore in between.
No texting?
No texting.
And that was allowed?
It was your process. Okay. Everybody had their own process. Okay. Now, what I heard that, you know, some of the other people, they were talking, you know, but I was like, I'm not going to do that. And the reason why is because in the dating world, when you meet people on apps, you do that. You meet a person here, there, and you're having these different conversations and you're developing some type of relationship and aura with somebody. Mm-hmm. And it'll pull your decision making in one way or the other based on that conversation. Okay. I felt that it was unfair to meet somebody early in the process and then meet somebody late in the process. Now I built some type of relationship with this person, but I'm really feeling this person. So now I got to go back and tell this person that, listen, I ain't feeling you that way because I just met this person. Now I'm going to take this person out on a second date.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So I just felt that let me give this 2-hour process with each one of these women. And after I sit back and think about that date,
Right.
now I can make a decision on who I'd like to go out with the second time.
Are there things that you go in knowing, okay, this is a deal breaker? If she says this,
Yeah.
that this is not the one. Or if she says this,
Yeah.
ching, check the box. I like that about her. Did you have
Like a checklist,
a set of things that you were looking for
Yeah.
that you know is right for you?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think the top of my list was, did you still have your children living at home? Okay.
I remember that.
Okay.
It was Lisa, right?
Because you were with her.
Yeah.
I felt some
The
vibe
attraction,
there.
as soon as she walked in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lisa was a sweetheart.
She was beautiful.
Yeah.
But that was immediate.
Well,
kind of.
I will say, we had our 2-hour conversation, which y'all didn't see everything.
Right.
Right? You didn't see everything. And I think on the show, it did mention or it did show that we had that conversation about you, and I asked her,
She had grown kids.
Yeah, they were like
Well, they're not
34.
grown people.
Yeah, 34 and 31,
Grown kids.
Mm-hmm.
And so, when she mentioned that they were still at home, because, I was like, ooh,
Mm-hmm.
they're 34, 31. So if they're not already out of the house, then maybe this is a situation that if we got together, they would be coming along with me. Now,
But you didn't get the full picture, right? The details.
right there, I did.
Right.
At that particular time, I didn't get the full picture.
What is it about that situation? Because if they're that old, y'all could go anywhere. You ain't got to chill in her crib. The kids had a
And there
crib.
may have been a reason, just a short period of
Curious,
time.
what is it about the kids living with the
Mm-hmm.
the dating person that doesn't appeal?
It's, you're right. I mean, there is a, I'll say this. So yes, you're right. We can go anywhere, but if I am trying to get to know a woman, sometimes I want to be at your house and you'll be at my house.
Okay.
If we're at your house and you got your kids running around, then I'm not going to feel comfortable in
her space.
in your space,
Okay.
what I'm saying, doing what grown people might want to do.
I got you.
Okay, I'm saying, and so it always has to take place at my place,
Right.
which now is, I get it and I understand it, but my preference, and I like to use this word, my preference is that, hey, both of us have open places that we can go, and if I can slip over there at 5:00 in the afternoon or 3 in the afternoon while you're there, don't have to worry about the kids running around.
You
I
prefer
put it
that.
like this:
Mhm.
at 50, at the time I was 56 when we taped. At 56 years old and being an empty nester, I felt that I had already graduated from having to deal with kids in the house. Okay,
That's it.
I graduated from that. My kids were grown and gone. I would like for your kids to be grown and gone.
Wow.
You come over to my house, you can walk through the door, and it's Adam and Eve all day long as soon as you walk through the door. You know what I'm saying?
So that's just basically your preference.
That's my
and that's
preference.
really, and that's okay.
That's
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about the other person I felt like you really vibed with, and
Mhm.
that was Michelle.
Okay.
From the pool, the conversation, and all of that
Michelle
there.
was feisty.
Yeah. Oh, she said she wasn't. She said she wasn't. She said she wasn't.
Yeah.
Well,
But the
Mm.
sense the vibe there,
yeah.
right, and a little bit of chemistry, at least at the pool,
Mhm.
and then how was that?
Again, 2-hour conversation.
Exactly.
Okay, I mean,
Yep.
2-hour date.
2 dates, right?
We had 2.
That we decided to go on the second
decided
date,
to go on the
right?
second date with her.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a couple of reasons why I decided to go on the second date. One, that date, if y'all looked at all 4 of my dates, was a little bit more lively, a little bit more fun.
It was.
It was the last date, so it was the one I could remember too. Okay, you know what I'm saying? I'm getting older, so the first day was the first day was like 2.5 months prior to, you know what I'm saying? I was but no, the very first date with Latrice was about 2.5 months. Yeah, it had been about 2 months. Yeah, so
see, we just never can.
yeah, you can't see all it. So the taping and so it was about 2 months.
Okay.
I was like, man, I couldn't remember her name, you know what I'm saying? Because I hadn't talked to her.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it was like, man, what was that date back like? So the only thing I could remember was the selfie that I took with her. You know what I'm saying? So I took the selfie and I was like, oh yeah, she's a beautiful woman, but I can't remember the date, and I remembered only certain things. So yeah, going out with Michelle, it was having that pool date was fun.
Yeah.
There was a lot of banter that went back and forth. A lot.
In a good way?
Initially. Initially. Then it started getting
shifted a little bit.
Yeah, well, the banter was always good, but I think I got exhausted.
Oh.
You know, I started getting exhausted. I was like, okay, let's, bring it down a level.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
What was that tension though? How did it get to that point? Was it just maybe a compatibility thing, or was it something that caused it to sort of shit? Because I felt the tension kind of rise, and I was like, okay, where's this going?
Well, I think, in my opinion, and she and I just kind of did a podcast a couple of days ago, and it was the first time we really talked about it too. And so, but initially we had a connection because her dad is a member of Omega Psi Phi. Okay, so she had
a military person too.
Yeah, she was a military person, so we had that connection, and then she is a person. She's from Chicago, and so she's already got a little bit of feistiness in her. And so, I'm accused, so it's like, you can't.
Yeah.
You're not gonna come at me, and then I ain't gonna come back. You know what I'm saying? So it's just how it is. And so it was one of those things that it was very fun at the very beginning. And as we continued throughout the date, I was like, it was still fun, but it started getting like, okay, cool. Is this the only thing that we're going to be able to do? Yeah. Is this how we're going to only be able to connect?
To relate.
Yeah, to relate with one another. So that was that first date. And then, I had to make a decision on who I was going to go out with the second time. Yeah. And it was between her and Lisa.
Yeah.
It was between her and Lisa. And I decided to go out with Michelle, partly because it was the last date I could remember. Secondly, it was a little bit more fun and upbeat. Third, we had these other connections. Fourth, I knew that at that particular time, that Lisa still had the children at the house, even though, that little dynamic was a little bit shifted, but that's what I recall. Yeah. So I made the decision that, hey, guess what? Let's go out with, Michelle and see how this, see what that second date is like. So that's why I chose.
So it seemed like the clothes on the bed was the last straw for you, Nate. Tell me about it.
Yes. At the comedy club, you all were out there talking about,
So first at the comedy club. So there was a lot of confusion in even getting us to the comedy club. If you've been in film, there's coordination and everything else like that. So she actually had another prior engagement. And so she showed up to the comedy club like about an hour and 15 minutes late, right? So we only got a 2-hour date, you know what I'm saying? But it wasn't her fault. It was really the coordination piece. It was late. They were trying to get the comedian. Everything was trying to get set up. So I'm sitting there, with the comedian in the comedy place looking like, I was like, man, everybody got spotlight on me. I'm sitting here by myself. You know what I'm saying? So now my mindset is like, okay, where is this one? I kept looking, where is she? And she kept texting me, I'm on my way. She finally got there. Then, we finished up with the comedian. Then we decided, basically, the place was like, hey, we're shutting down, so y'all need to go outside, basically. It was like, okay. So we went outside to finish up the date. At that particular time, she was a little upset with what was all of the coordination because it was confusing. Right. And so, I basically kind of had to calm her down and, talk her down and say, hey, it's cool. We're still on this date. We're going to have a good time, blah, 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 blah. And she was like, okay, cool. Now, I think we began to talk about what Logan wanted me to work on. and what some of the issues were that she said I had. And I said, yeah, I can be a little rigid, I'm a little military.
She knew what Logan's concerns were.
I'm not so sure. I know that after our first date, her date, we text each other 2 or 3 times because I told her, you're going to go on my second date or whatever. And so we text each other a couple of times. And I'm not so sure if I had actually told her that, what Logan said, but I know at the table, again, y'all only seen it a little bit. So I know I told her at the table about what Logan said. And so that's when we began having a conversation about a cup being moved, about clothes being whatever. And I will say part of what y'all saw was twofold. One was me remembering the first date that we had. Okay. And like I said, the banter we had going back and forth. Right. And I was like, okay, I was kind of tired of the banter. So let's get to something more, substantial. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so when we're sitting at the table, the other part was because, you mentioned she was feisty. She said she wasn't. I'm sitting there for 2 hours with her saying, yeah, you are.
Can I please qualify that?
Uh-huh.
When I say feisty, I just mean
spirited.
She was sparky. She had a personality. She seemed to know who she was.
Yes. And it wasn't a negative.
It wasn't negative. No, not at all.
I didn't get a mask from her.
No, she is who she is. She is who she is. I can tell you that, just even off camera because we talk now, we still, and she is who she is.
Yeah.
But I think who I am as a person, as a guy, as a man, I was like, okay, we're establishing something here. I need you to hear me, what I'm saying. And I just felt that she's not listening to what I am saying. Yeah. You're trying to change my mind on what I'm trying to tell you, and this is not about to happen. Right. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to be in my life, you have to listen, and because you're choosing me as a man, if you want to date me, then at some point you have to listen to what I'm trying to tell you. Right. You know what I'm saying? I got to listen to you, but you got to listen to me. And during that particular time, I was telling her that, hey, listen, we're just kind of getting to know each other. And if that's what you do at your house, it's fine. We can operate that way at your house. If you're coming over to my house, this is how I operate. And this is what I prefer you to do in my house. Now, down the road, could that change?
Yeah.
Possibly so. But at least it would be like Martin on, Martin's show. Respect my house.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? These are the rules of my house.
Absolutely.
And those are the rules of your house. So don't come in and try. And so that's what y'all saw. It was like, let's set the ground rule. You're not going to come in and try to change my mind on how I'm dealing with something. And so that's what y'all saw.
Okay. Because that was something that I think some of the viewers, I'm sure that you've heard some of that. Yeah. And we only get just that short, snippet of what actually happened. So it's almost as if, you put a dress down and that's it for Nate. You know what I mean? And that's not necessarily.
No. We had a long conversation about it, going back and forth about a number of different things.
Right.
And, again, it was, for me at that moment was, are you listening?
Right.
Can you listen? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not are you trying to manipulate me to have your way?
Yeah.
Because this is what you want.
So let me ask you this. I mean, because they did show your home, in several of the clips, your closet, everything very organized.
They really focused on
They
that.
focused on that.
They made it a thing.
They did.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about that? Do you feel that may be, I don't want to sound negative. I mean, do you think it's kind of like OCD, or are you just a neat person? You like things, a certain way?
So yes.
Okay.
So I personally gonna say it's not OCD.
Okay.
If you look up the definition of OCD, it's not OCD.
Okay.
It is, I like things neat and in its place.
Okay.
And I'm okay with people feeling this a negative, because guess what? If you don't like it that way, you're not for me.
Right.
Okay. Because believe you me, there have been thousands. And when I say thousands, I mean thousands of women who reached out and said, I'm just like that. I don't like, Yeah, I don't like to wear my outside clothes and sit them on my bed. I don't like to have stuff out the way, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, cool. They're like, I'm not OCD because I'm not looking at every little thing and got to wipe it down and do it. But I like things in an orderly way. Because when I come into my place, I want to feel comfortable. I.e., put it like this. And I try to explain to people like this. I say, when you go on vacation, do you like to go to a 5-star hotel or a 2-star hotel? Okay, so a 5-star hotel, you could go in, it's nice, clean, smelling good, you don't mind laying on the bed or whatever. And a 2-star hotel, you be like, wait a minute, you know, things aren't out of. And so when I come home every day from work, I like to feel like I'm at a 5-star hotel because I feel more relaxed. And when people come to my house, it's like, oh, it smells. You saw Logan say, oh, it's so nice, it's clean, and the whole crew was like, oh, this is nice. And I was asking the crew, I was like, so is everybody like this? They were like, no. And so they were like, you know, they were happy. They were, you know, going to my spare bathroom. They were like, oh, it's so clean, it smells good. Why shouldn't it? Right. So I was like, I don't understand why people saw that as a negative.
I don't either.
Okay, so
not as a negative, but you are very meticulous, very neat,
military,
right?
But she,
but here's the thing. There's a thing that's how I live. So if I have visitors come to the house, I don't worry about them putting a cup here, a cup there, because when the visit is over, I'll put it back the way that I want. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to stay that way.
Right.
But during the visit, hey, be comfortable. Have the cup here. You know, your coat is over there. Whatever it might be, it's fine.
Yeah. But it's not an obstacle to dating at all.
It's not an obstacle to dating at all. I mean, you know, if I'm dating a woman and she comes over, well, first of all, I'm one of those individuals. And I know there's a lot of people that do this, but I'm one of those individuals. You come in the house, you take your shoes off. Okay. You're not walking around all in your shoes. Okay. And so that's about all that I really require from anybody.
Which a lot of people do.
Yeah, which a lot of people do. So, you know, you could throw your coat over the couch or whatever, put your purse, wherever it might be. That's it. You know, feel comfortable. I want you to feel like you're at home. Okay. But in a space where she and I were at during the table, when she was saying, well, this is what I do at my house and I'm just going to leave it at your house. No, you're not. Because that's not how I operate. Right. You know, I operate in the sense that, you know, when I leave home, I want to come back to home the same way that I left it. So if we took a dress or a pair of pants off a hanger, and this is just something, this isn't military. This is just how I grew up. You know, you take a pair of pants off a hanger. How long does it take to put the pair of pants back on the hanger if you're not going to wear it?
Are you?
I'm asking the question. How long does it take?
I mean, it took all my time.
Right.
No.
I'm answering the question.
Just the act of putting it back on the table.
Seconds.
Thank you.
I know this. Yes, it's just a couple of seconds. If that's what you're asking.
That's it.
But what if I'm in a rush and every second counts, and I got to get out of the door to go to work?
I get that.
I can get to that pair of pants when I come back.
I get that, and I understand that. And guess what? If it's a critical thing that you got to get to an emergency, that's a definitely different story.
Right.
Okay. Right. But if this is something that you do just because you don't want to, no. You know, and guess what? An emergency, getting to an emergency room, maybe getting to work as you get in. It only takes less than 30 seconds to put that back on the hanger. It only takes and if you look at something, and I grew up kind of like this,
you
where
have to raise them up the way you want them to
you
go.
know what I'm saying? So because here's the thing, I've been to people's houses, women's houses, where they have done just like that, and it's been a whole week, and they got 50 pair of clothes all over the place because there's like, I'm running out of here. First of all, if you know you got to leave at 7:00, why you didn't get up and get ready prior to? Why are you still laying around? It's called time management. That's plain and simple. Okay, you know you're telling me, you can't tell me that you're back to back to back. No, you were just sitting down, watching TV, on the phone, doing whatever else you need to do instead of having time management. It's easy to put something back up on the shelf in 30 seconds. And if you do that every time, guess what? You don't have to have a cleaner come in. You don't have to spend 2 hours, 3 hours on the weekend cleaning up because you have done it throughout the week. 30 seconds at a time.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Coming up, this is after the show.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel like that has played into now you dating? Do you feel like you're in a better place? You feel like you're in the same place because you've always really known what you wanted in a mate?
And do you like dating? Is it fun for you? I mean,
Okay.
At this age, you know, it probably was a time. We talked about silver foxes a little bit, and I'm sure the ladies love that. You're a very attractive man.
I appreciate that.
But even as you were, you know, in your 30s, and I know you were married for a period, but I'm sure you had a time where you know, with a guy, you're cute and everything. So you was out there.
Yeah.
How is it different now at this seasoned age, getting out there, meeting women, whether it's on an app or in a natural environment, and just peeling back the layers and really creating space and opportunity to get to know someone in an authentic way? And is it even really a priority? Is it that important to you? Is it like, I can take it or leave it?
And all of those.
I can take it or leave it.
Okay, so
I'm painting a picture. So
Yeah.
you give me whatever you got. You ain't got to answer all the questions.
So at this particular moment in time, after the show, I'm more or less like, I can take it or leave.
Oh,
Okay.
really?
I am not necessarily really kind of dating, and I'm not really looking to do a lot of dating.
We like you, Nate. Women like you, Nate.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm going to tell you like this: the first 30 days after the show aired, I wanted to crawl up under a rock and die because the comments were just horrible. They were beating me up. Are you reading the comments?
I didn't, but you know, I could tell. Listen, I could tell. I was like, this is a really good guy. And you had moments, tender moments with your daughter, and just, it was moments I got to see a little bit about your humanity. And I did not want them to do that to you. So I'm sorry, Chad.
I didn't read the comments.
Oh, well.
I didn't read the comments, but you know how it can go. I could see how that was shaping up.
Oh,
yeah.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
It was horrible. I wanted to crawl up under a rock and die. I really did.
Yeah.
And it became very exhausting. And so I tried not to read the comments, and people tell you, you know, don't read the comments.
Yeah.
But I'm a novice, so I just like, hey, what happened? You know, what did people think? And so I'm like, but after that, then I started getting a lot of outpouring of love from a lot of women who were meeting me or not meeting me, who were watching the show and saying, I understand you. I see, I'm the same kind of way.
Yeah.
I need to meet you, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, cool. You know, maybe this group of individuals are more of they've either got more experience or they're deeper thinkers or whatever. The first group of people were just somebody that had a mic or had the opportunity to talk, and maybe they weren't deep thinkers, or maybe they were being triggered because they didn't see themselves as a quality candidate to date.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so now they were triggered.
So now they want to be critical.
So now they want to be critical of everything. You know what I'm saying? So, but again, those were the first 30 days. Ever since then, it's been
good.
It's been good. It's been pretty good. But at the same token, I had to do some self-evaluation and saying, where am I in my life in terms of wanting to either find a long-term partner or even date. And what I come to realize, and I think I knew this even before the show, is that going back to your first word. So yes, being younger, I was all over the place, having a great time dating, you know, doing this. Older, dating is exhausting. dating is exhausting.
For men in particularly, or for a man of your age or in this era, bring some context to that statement, because I think it's a lot of brothers and women too that feel that way.
Right.
Yeah.
And especially we talk about the dating pool, having pee in it. We just say all this stuff, but we don't really get to why we feel that way.
Right.
Yeah.
How hard it is.
So I think when I was younger, dating was easier because there was less criteria to meeting a woman's expectations.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, when you're in college, everybody broke.
Okay, just have you.
Okay, everybody broke. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you like me just because you like me, not because of what you have or where you're going or what you're doing. Right. You like me and I like you. Right. And so therefore, guess what? We can go to a burger joint and we good to go. And you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? But now it's, you have to, have certain things. You have to be certain way. You have to be extremely chivalrous. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And it's one of those things to where, I think that, I have 2 daughters, so I want men to do the same thing with my daughters. But at the same token, it's one of those things where you got to say, does the risk of doing that outweigh the reward? What is my reward in having to do that with each and every woman that I encounter?
Well, we're older now, right? Yes. We're set in our ways, in a sense, right? So you're really looking for a partner, and you have to see what that partner can kind of bring. I don't know. I think that's one of the things that I think about, being almost 55. I feel like we're still kind of set in our ways, too. So I think about being, when you say exhausting.
You look good 55.
Oh, no, okay, thank you. But I mean, but I think, because we've been talking about dating later in our years, and I feel like we're kind of set in our ways. Is it exhausting? Do you feel like it's hard to find that person to come in your space now because you're so comfortable in your space?
I think so. So here's the thing. I came up with a little acronym that, I think that really plays a part in especially later daters. And it's called, I call it RAPS. It's RAPPS. Okay. So what all of these letters mean are this. First of all, in a relationship or when you're seeking to date somebody, okay, men have to come with, we have to be, quote, quote, R, which is responsible. Okay. Responsible within that relationship, making sure that, hey, we are doing the things that we need to do, not only just for ourselves, but for that woman. Okay. Whether it's, I hear a lot of times women saying, hey, I do need a man. I want him to come in and take some of this load off. Okay. And it's like, okay, now the load that you have is on my shoulders now. Some of it's on my shoulders, but am I getting relieved of some of my load? Okay. And a lot of times it's a no. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Really?
A lot of
What's
times.
the load? Because men never say what the load is.
So
we kind of guess at it. Women do. We come in and we're like, okay, well, what does he really need? But a man typically doesn't come out and say what his real needs are.
Because I don't think that we really have a real idea of what our needs are.
But when you get it, you're not getting it,
When you're not getting it, it's not that you're not getting it, not in per se. I think it's the fact that we have to, because we're in this relationship or we're trying to get to know somebody, we're giving off more energy and more, I guess you could say energy and what's the word I'm looking for? I'm struggling right now. Efforts and resources. Yes. We're giving all of that into this relationship, in terms of it just
appreciated.
It needs to be appreciated, and appreciated, and sometimes even reciprocated.
Absolutely.
Okay. So the other letter in there is we have to be accountable. Okay. Because we can't just do what we want to do anymore. We're here dating. So, as a guy, right now as a single guy, I can get up at 2:00 in the morning, dip up out the house, come back at 5:00 in the morning, and nobody's saying anything. Okay. So, or I can go out of town and do whatever I want to do. And nobody's saying anything. Right. But if I'm trying to date somebody, I need to have that conversation. Right. And it's like, are you okay with it? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, do I really want to be like, are you okay with it?
Right. Can we stay with the Avery? So what would be ideal in that situation for a woman to sort of just, I think you got to trust the man, obviously, because that was is what will make a woman be in her feelings about moves you're making if she's got to overthink and be in her head. But if you're in a good relationship, are you okay with just letting your woman know what type of moves you're about to make? You know?
Yeah. If you're in a good relationship, I think it's okay letting each person know what kind of moves. Is the question?
Does that feel good to tell her, or do you like to just go?
No, I mean, it feels, if you are being upfront and you're having some type of integrity, then it's okay. You know what I'm saying? It's not a problem. It's having to explain once you have that well, why are you doing this? And it's like, whoa, what you mean why I'm doing? Okay, I'm doing this because, well, do you really need to do this? You know, it's all of those additional questions that come in, and I get it. You're in this relationship, so again, if as a later dater, as a man, period, do you want to subject yourself to that? And is this woman the woman that you want to subject yourself to it? Because again, it's coming if you're in a relationship.
Because I think as a woman, we do bring our intuition and our feelings into the equation. That's something that, I mean, man, your feelings and your intuition are not at the forefront of what you're bringing. You're being more logical, more linear in your thought process. Yeah. You're looking for more tangible things. Yeah. So I think we're a little different. A woman's energy comes in a little different. I think it can be a turn off to a man sometimes if there's insecurity there, or if there's any little issue that's causing her to feel like, you know, she's got to try to be in her control.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. A man's like, whoa, you're trying to control me?
Right. And you know, and I'm going to say, if you're in a relationship, I think that they're having a little bit of control. There's not anything wrong with that, within that relationship. And I say that because, you know.
Do you like that?
What, having a little bit of control? Do I like having control?
Your woman having a little bit of control over you.
Yeah, at some level.
Okay.
At some level. And I say that because it has to be both ways. You know, women, and one of the other things is going back to the acronym. So then I'm gonna kind of tie this in. The P is protection. Okay. Women want to be protected, right? Want to feel protected. So going back to the control, I can't protect anything I can't control.
Okay.
So therefore, I need to be able to control what's going on with my woman in order to provide protection. Yes. It's plain and simple. You can't protect your children unless you can control. Okay. So I think that a lot of times women have a problem with a man because they're saying that's toxic masculinity. You're being controlling. No, baby, I see things that you don't see, some dangers that are coming up that you may not see. And I know you used to be by yourself, you know, and you were handling it. But now you have a man that's here, and this man is trying to protect you from any incident. And guess what? Because you have a man here now and you're doing certain things, you may be putting me in harm's way because now I got to step up and protect you from. So now I don't want you to do X, Y, and Z.
But it's the same with her too.
It's the same, and that's why I said
intuition kicks off,
right?
And she wants to offer that as well, but it's not received the same.
I think again, it's not received the same until a man is really truly into that woman and wants to be in a relationship.
That's it.
Okay.
It can't happen to us.
We got to be at that spot. Absolutely. You got to be into that woman. Yeah. So, and he's fine with, no, baby, you can't do, okay, baby, no problem. But coming early on, like, hey, I'm your mother, you know, no,
the right person is not going to have you feel that way.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. So. I don't know. I always hear that the right person. I think it takes time for two people to kind of get there, because I think that each, you know, male and female both have their own things that they're bringing to the relationship. And so you have to kind of figure each other out, what buttons to push, what buttons not to push.
Do you think that you are ready at this age to be open to allow for that?
Am I ready at this age?
Are you ready? Because we are kind of saying, are you open to really?
Yes.
I'll say this. 3 years ago, I was definitely ready. 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago, I actually proposed to somebody.
Really?
Yeah. And it just didn't work out. Okay. You know, and so, So since it didn't work out, I was like, okay, cool. Well, I'm for the streets. You know what I'm saying?
Now, you know what? Now looking back though, do you think that was the right person? Now looking back, do you believe that could have?
I think that all of the tangibles and everything were there. I think, and here's the thing. I think a lot of people can be the right person. What it has to be is that both of y'all have to be in that same space at the same time.
It's all about timing.
It's about time. It's about time. Okay.
Yes.
And so if you're not in that same headspace and if you're not in that same desire, it's not going to work. You know what I'm saying? So all the tangibles were there.
Yeah.
She just wasn't there.
Yeah.
Now, with her or anybody else, I'm not there. You know what I'm saying? So now.
Yeah.
So you don't desire it at this
I
point.
desire the journey. Okay. So I think a lot of times, and later daters right about now, women that are, they've approached, being after 50 and they're thinking, I don't want to live the rest of my life alone. I don't want to be alone. So everybody is looking for the end zone or the finish line instead of that journey to get there. It's like, okay, I met a guy that's pretty good. So I'm going to lock in and 2 years from now, we need to be married. I can't promise you that. I got to get to know you. And we got to get to know each other. Let's go on this journey. And if this journey takes us to that point, then that's fine. And,
If marriage is a priority for her, it's better you know that sooner than later so you can be honest with her about the time that she's about to spend with you.
Exactly. And I think that because marriage is a priority, I hear it a lot of times women saying, men don't want a relationship. Well, because you threw that priority out there and we don't know. At this point, we don't necessarily know if we want to get married. We want maybe a long-term relationship, but a lot of us have been married, divorced, lost a lot, rebuilt ourselves. And it's like, I don't have time to get divorced again and rebuild myself. So now it's a scary thing talking about, I'm going to get locked in with
that like for men after divorce? You've rebuilt yourself. You've taken some. I don't know if you've done therapy. I mean, I don't know how some men don't feel like therapy is for them, and some do. So I know that's a tough conversation, especially in the Black community sometimes. But once you have gotten to a place where you feeling pretty good, you for the streets, you out there, you just enjoying your life. Kind of, do you feel that you still sort of carry a little bit of the devastation from losing that marriage? Like, are you ever the same after that? Are you different?
So I'm gonna qualify something first before I answer that.
Okay.
So a minute ago I said for the streets. Now that as an older guy, I can tell you like this. I would say most of us, when we say we're for the streets, we're enjoying life. Right. That doesn't mean we're sleeping with everybody.
We're really for the sheets.
Okay. We ain't sleeping with everybody. Look, I ain't got that kind of energy. You know what I'm saying? So, but I enjoy going out and going maybe to a venue or doing something and enjoying that companionship. Sure. And then guess what? You peace out to the house. I'm peace out to the house, and I'm going to bed. Okay. So going back to your question, do I think that I bring some of that along with me is what you're saying?
Just after marriage, do you still have like a little bit of hurt just from it didn't work? You thought she was going to make this investment, be with someone forever. You might have taken a loss. And now you have gotten to a place where you built yourself back up as an individual, single. Are you the same? Like,
no, I don't think so. I would say, and I'm going to speak for myself and some friends of mine who also have gone through a divorce later in life. It's, a lot of men that grew up in the 50s and 60s, we grew up understanding that we take on the brunt of the family responsibility financially. And so it's like, listen, we're going to live this kind of way and we're going to be able to do X, Y, and Z. And so it's almost as if, all of our all of our income is going towards taking care of family, kids, and everything else. And so we're heavily investing into that relationship. Whereas, you know, and I would say again, in my little circle, you know, a lot of the women were participating in that, but they were also saving on the side and being able to do X, Y, and Z. Having, you know, and we're like, we're not doing all that much saving, you know what I'm saying? Because we're investing in family.
Right.
We're making sure family is good. So when that ends and you realize that you end up with 2 suitcases and that's about it, and she got the house and then savings and everything else like this, you be like, nah.
Yeah.
That's
You,
right.
you know what I'm saying? No, you know, am I willing to do that again? And then, you know, you hear this term, you know, people are talking about, you know, this 50-50 thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, once you've gone through that, it's like, I don't necessarily subscribe to 50-50, but I need you to be more of an active participant at this point in our whole survival.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I can't do this again the way I did it the first time because I can't recover.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, so at this point, it's like, you know, again, does the risk outweigh the reward? What am I getting out of this if I'm investing so much into this? And at the same time it's so easy this day and age for women to walk away. You know, just say, I don't want to do this no more.
That's what they say. Women leave.
I don't want to do this no more.
The numbers show that that's what it is.
Yeah, I don't want to do this more, and be like, what in the world?
And men are willing to ride it out till the wheels fall off.
Hey,
and there's a reason. Yeah. I don't think we have enough time for that. But yes,
right.
Yeah.
Well, what I was, I hear this story, which I'm 45, but there's like I've heard a lot of stories about men dying in nursing homes and being like alone in their later years and not having the companionship, and that's sad to me. I didn't know that was like a thing. But apparently in this generation, our generation, maybe not in our parents' generation, men are aging out on their own.
Yeah, you know, I think about that.
And we need each other.
You know,
And I don't understand why we can't figure it out, how to make it work.
So I get it.
And women need each other.
True.
And I've heard that too. And I think about it even in my own personal life. You know, I'm perfectly capable of taking care of myself, you know, at this particular time. I don't know what's going to happen in 15, 20 years. I don't know. But I will say at this point in life, my life is very peaceful. Yeah. Very calm. Mm-hmm. Very relaxed. Okay. So I can tell you how many days are there in a year?
365.
365. Mm-hmm. I'm lonely 35 days out of the year. So now I got 330 days that I'm not lonely. I'm really happy. Mm-hmm. I got joy. I got peace. Mm-hmm. Now, adding a person to that, will that take away from those 330 days of joy? Because there's going to be some challenges in life, in that relationship. Yeah. But how much is it going to take? 50 days away? Is it going to take 180 days away? Is it going to take, am I going to be miserable just because I have somebody? Right. You know, so we think about that. It's like, you know, I get it, you know, in your old age, but we think, well, maybe we just deal with that because right now it's so calm, so peaceful, so relaxing. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Not having to deal with stuff. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Is it women? Is it us? Is it us? Is it us?
I can't say that it's women, and I think it's just two people having some differences, and I think that's, you know, just the way it is. When you're by yourself, you don't do anything but answer to yourself. Mm-hmm. If anything messed up, it's because of you.
And it's really a good place to be sometimes. It is. Yeah. Sometimes it's peaceful. It's a good place to be. But we still, at least for me, you miss that companionship.
You know.
And I think,
you know, and again, and that's why I say the journey, because you can still get companionship by having friends, not necessarily somebody you're sleeping with, but somebody you're hanging out with, you know, you talk to every day. You may be your plus one and everything. And guess what? They got their place, you got your place, and you're having that good relationship and they're checking in on you every day and you're checking in, but do you have to be in this relationship to where all of these romantic and emotions and this jealousy and this, because, you know, as a, for instance, my friend Jackie, my older daughter's mother.
You know
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, we talk almost every day, right? We're good friends. And I know if I don't hear from her and if she doesn't hear from me in 24 hours, she's going to be checking. Hey, where you at? What's going on? You know, if I had a woman in my life, then she wouldn't be doing all of that. You know what I'm saying? She'd pull back or whatnot. But having a woman in your life, now it becomes the place where, again, I have to have that accountability, that responsibility. With her, I ain't got no accountability except for, you know, hey, how you doing? Yeah. And even if I'm going out with somebody, she may be like, do you like her or whatever, you know, and there's no jealousy. It's like having your sister or a brother, you know, so that friendship, that, you know, companionship is there.
Can I ask you that? And I have to ask.
Yeah.
You know, I have to ask.
Okay. But
because you all did have this great vibe on screen, and that is a friend. Yeah. You know what I mean? And the mother of your child. And I think that when we're thinking about relationships and partners, friendship really is important.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? We have to ask.
What are my thoughts?
On Jackie.
Jackie's my friend.
So
I mean, there's a difference between just having a friend and somebody that you look at and be like, ooh, romantic relationships, desire, you know, I can't wait to see you. You know, if that's not there, that chemistry, that feeling is not there, then it's just a friendship, and you just need to leave it there, because she and I, we talked about it at one point, you know, what, 20 something years ago, you know, and we even made a pact. Hey, if we are 50 years old and we're not together, we'll try. If we're 60 years old, we'll try. But there is no, that chemistry for romance is not there. It's just a friendship. So we talked about it, saying, hey, it doesn't make sense to mess up a friendship, because the minute that you get into this, I'm trying to be romantic, and it doesn't work, you can't go back to just being that friend. And
the only reason I wanted you to go into detail about that is because I know that people have asked, and that's one of the questions that come up. And I do think it's a great friendship that you all have.
Yeah. And I would say she's not at my house like that.
Yeah.
That was a show. Okay. She is not at my house. She's been to my house outside of the show. She's been to my house in 4 years, 4 times. Okay. Because she's only come over when.
But you all talk every day.
We talk probably at least 5 times a week.
So she dated, I don't know, she may be dating someone, or, you know, it was in a relationship. It's not an issue for you either.
No, if she's in a relationship with somebody, we don't really talk. Okay. Well, we may check in or text each other, hey, how you doing? Like, you know, whatever, but there's no real communication. It's just all love. I'm like, are y'all doing okay? I'm you know, are you good? Whatever. But there's no interference in the romantic relationship. Okay.
Well, we are actually running out of time. I hope that we always try to create a safe space. Okay. And I hope that you got that feeling here, because I think we were able to kind of dig a little deeper and really find some shit.
Yeah. Wanted to know
exactly.
Appreciate that. Yes, it was safe.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. And thank you for joining us. Please remember to like, subscribe, share. We'll catch you on the next episode. That's right. Comment. We'll catch you on the next episode of Black Coffee Conversations.
Peace.
Peace.